Hey, what's going on, my hungry friends? Today we're going to be making a Croque Monsieur and a Croque Madame. And the difference between the two is nothing more than the egg being on top. It's going to be delicious, it's going to be creamy, and more importantly, you can have it on any single meal. Let's make it. All right, let's go ahead and get right into it, my hungry friends. So everything that you see here before you is everything that you're going to need into making this amazing Croque Monsieur and also a Croque Madame, okay? And this is a French dish, and this is nothing more than a upgraded or upscaled ham and cheese sandwich. And let me tell you, this is gonna be fantastic. It's gonna have this amazing, rich, creamy, cheesy texture with the crunch of a ham and cheese sandwich. And not only are we gonna make it as a Croque Monsieur, as a regular sandwich, but we're gonna add an egg on top for a secondary sandwich, otherwise known as a Croque Madame. Okay, so let's go ahead and get right into it. So first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take our 2 cups of milk and we're gonna go ahead and heat this up. And the reason why we wanna heat up milk is because it makes it quicker when we're making our bechamel / Mornay sauce, okay? And we're gonna let this go for a little bit. At the same time, we're gonna prep our bread. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and prepare our bread. And as you can see, you can use any type of bread that you want. I'm gonna go with a Texas type of garlic toast bread. It's just regular bread, but they're thicker slices, okay? And all we're gonna do is, let's go ahead and move this down, and we're gonna cut off the edges. And what you may have heard was my oven, and I've preheated that to 375 degrees. Because ultimately what we're going to be doing is we're going to be toasting the bread, okay? And what most people do is they'll take these and they'll just toss it. I'm going to toss it for today because I'm actually going out of town, so I won't be needing it right now. But you can actually crumble up and make breadcrumbs for other dishes, right? So let's get these other ones prepped. And we want them in a perfect squarish rectangle, right? So let's go cut a few more for our sandwiches. Okay, so all we're gonna do is we're gonna take our sheet pan, and I have this really nifty non-stick mat, and I use it on a lot of things, but what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna take our squarish rectangle type of pieces of bread here, and we're gonna toast it. And we don't wanna go too fully brown around it. We just want a nice even toast, okay? So I'm gonna put this in the oven at 375 degrees so we get a nice toast. And now we're gonna start on our Mornay sauce. Ooh, can't wait. Okay, so it's going in the oven. Okay, so my hungry friends, now we're gonna go ahead and start on our bechamel, which is gonna lead into the Mornay, okay? And Mornay is nothing more than the bechamel sauce by adding all different fluxes of different cheeses. And today we're going to be using Gruyere cheese, we're gonna be using some brie cheese, and some Parmigiano Reggiano. So I love cooking with that stuff, okay? And additionally, I'm gonna show you how I plate the ham into the bread, okay? So it's really important that we keep it nice and neat, makes it look really good and nice and presentable, okay? So what we're gonna do is, obviously we're gonna get our stove on, and we're gonna get it to about medium, low, medium type heat. And we're gonna let that heat up for a second. Let's get our ingredients ready to rock and roll, because we'll be going to use all of these. Okay. Now, as it's heating up, just know that while you're making your own Croque Madame or Croque Monsieur, that you can use any cheese you want. I'm not telling you which one you're going to use. I'm just letting you know what I'm using today. And I find by using these ingredients, ooh, let me tell you, it's really, really, really tasty, right? So give it a couple more seconds, and we're going to go ahead and get going. And this is now the fun part. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take right around 4 to 5 tablespoons of butter. Love butter, can't get enough of butter, right? I think butter's healthy, if you ask me. Can't trust a skinny chef, right? So, okay. And as you can see, we're going to go ahead and let the butter melt it down, maybe about 40% of the way. And then one thing I did not bring out is the flour. But luckily, I have it ready to go. And we're going to be doing about 2 to 3 tablespoons of flour. Okay, so if you take a look right now, it's just about 40 to 50% melted. And we're going to go ahead and add in a couple of teaspoons of flour. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Don't worry about the mess, folks. We'll clean it up later, right? Let's take a look at that. And we're going to whisk this in. I don't know what it is about butter, cream, and all these cheeses. Man, it's already making me hungry. But look at the consistency that we're looking at. And this is, we're going to kind of take the temperature down just a little bit. We're going to continue to stir this down. And look at that. This is amazing. Now that we have our milk hot, what we're going to do is we're going to now start ladling some of our warm milk. So go ahead and take a look at this, okay? All right, and whisk that in some more. And what we're gonna do is we're trying to boil this down, not so much of a high boil, but a very low boil. And notice how we're already getting a nice creamy texture. Look, take a look at this. Whew. This is exactly what I wanted. See how I was doing that? Okay. And take a look. This, exactly, it kind of looks like heavy whipping cream. Okay. Look at that, look at that. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna add in some Gruyere cheese that I had already shredded up before we started. Measure carefully, folks, right? Ooh, love this cheese. Let's get a little more. I like it. You can't be enough cheesy, folks, right? Now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna grab my Parmesan Reggiano. Again, measure carefully. We're going to go in about 3/4 cup, maybe a cup and a half each. Okay. And now we are going to stir this, and we're going to add in one more component, which is your brie cheese. Let's go ahead and get this in here. All right, look how that's looking. And once the Gruyere and the Parmesan Reggiano has already been mixed in, and it's almost slightly fully melted in there already, now we're going to add in the brie cheese. We're going to add in about 4 ounces or so. Look at that. All right. Well, let's put all of it in there. I like cheese. Why not? All right. Some salt. Couple pinches there. All right. We're going to add in some pepper. Generally, this recipe calls for white pepper. I'm not doing that. I'm doing freshly grated pepper. And we're going to mix this in. And then last but not least, we are going to add in some heavy cream. A couple teaspoons. Make sure you measure carefully. Okay. And if it gets a little too dry, once again, just add a little bit more, right? But there's going to be a caveat. Okay, so while we're adding this, we're going to even give it an even more of a finer twist, and we're going to make it rich. And all we're going to do is we're going to add in 1 to 2 egg yolks. Okay, not the full egg, but just the egg yolk. Okay, and what that does is it's going to give it that amazing creamier, richer flavor and texture of the Mornay. Okay, so before we let our bread burn, perfect toast is exactly what we wanted. Let's go ahead and leave that oven on. Let's bring this over here. All right, so all we're gonna do is we're gonna take our bread, we're gonna place it over here. Okay. And we're gonna build our sandwiches here in a second. What we wanna do is we wanna continue making the Mornay sauce. Okay, so the consistency is about 98%, exactly where I wanted it. We're just gonna add just a little bit more cream. And that's just about it. And we're about a minute or so, and then we're gonna start preparing our sandwiches, right? Okay. And you know, as we're continuing moving along, if you like this video in particular, please ring that bell. You know, a lot of people are coming to me and like, oh, you know, how do I make this thing? This is your chance to actually get your recipe right now and try this at home. I guarantee you, you're not gonna want a ham and cheese sandwich any other way, okay? So, we're about 30 seconds away. We're getting the consistency that we want, okay? And what this is gonna do is gonna act as the creamy component of the Croque Monsieur, the Croque Madame. Okay, now this is where we make this really rich, and the way it's gonna look, you're gonna wanna look at this so that way you can see what it looks like. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this egg yolk and I'm just gonna mix it up. So it gives that amazing yellow texture, creamy looking richness that you see in this bowl. Okay, so if you look at that, and now what we're gonna do, look at that. And this is where, once you apply it, you want to go in there and start whisking quick. And look at that yellowness. Is that a word, yellowness? Crystal? All right, look at that. And this is like, almost like your own separate umami flavor right here. But look at that. And when you apply it onto the sandwich, it's going to be creamy and it's going to be just so delightful. Beautiful, huh? Isn't this beautiful? Right. All right, so now, look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Woo! This is like liquid gold. Kind of like one of the 5 mother sauces, and we're turning it into a 5-star Michelin sandwich. Isn't that crazy? So, okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to show you how to plate this thing. Okay, before we do, a lot of people always ask me, well, how do you make the sandwich look pretty, okay? So this is what I do. When I take ham, okay, obviously I already have them all prepared, already ready to go here. But what I'm gonna do is at the very beginning, what you didn't see is I'll take a piece of bread, right? And then I take a piece of ham. And sometimes some pieces are gonna be bigger than others. And what I like to do is I like to line it up to where it fits every edge, and then you fold it back over, okay? And you take another one, and you do it the opposite direction, okay? You fold this way, so that way it still stays even all the way around, right? And then I'm not going to do all these because I already done them, but do the same thing with that side, and then so on and so forth, okay? So that's what it looks like, and they're all in squares, right? And what we're gonna do is we're gonna start building this sandwich. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take some of my Mornay sauce, just a little bit now, because if you put a little too much, then it can start sliding around everywhere. We don't want that, okay? So what we're gonna do, and we are going to cover this bad boy. Look at that. And the reason why we have it toasted as well is so that way the Mornay is not seeping into the middle, thus making it soggy, okay? And then what we're going to do, we're actually going to take our ham. It was already pre-made. Okay. Okay, so now that we have the ham and it's nicely folded, covering all the edges, this is where we have a little fun with it, right? that, look at that. Okay. All right. All right, so just enough. Let's not lose our spoon here. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add in some Gruyere cheese right here. Look at that. Then we're going to take another one of a piece of bread, put it right on top. Okay. Then we're going to take our Mornay. Now this is the fun part, folks. A little bit of here, because we love cheese, right? Okay, and this is where we're going to put. And actually, you know what? Let's put this on the tray, because I don't care if we spill over. We want it to spill over. It's going to look really, really good. Look at that. All right. We'll set this off for now. Now the next step we're going to be doing is we're going to put this back in the oven for just a couple more minutes, and at that time I'm going to be getting the Croque Madame ready, which is the egg that's going to go on top of it. So let's go ahead and get this in the oven for a couple more minutes while we get the egg ready to go. So give me 1 minute. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to get this heat on. We're going to do very, very low, and it's because we're waiting for the sandwiches to get out of the oven. So what I like to do to make the Croque Madame is I have these little cookie little rings, okay? There's other things that you can use for making breakfast, like these little pancake little circles or whatever it is, but I'm gonna use this one, okay? So what I like to do is I like to place that in the center of the pan, and you can use whatever fat content you want. I'm using coconut oil, it's a little healthier. Okay, and just kind of spray it inside. Okay, so that's all we're gonna do. And it's already feeling kind of hot. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to crack my egg, and as I crack the egg, I'm going to try to do it very carefully, right, to get it in there. But then again, I'm going to also try to finagle the yolk dead center of this thing, so it kind of makes it look like one of those little McDonald's egg McMuffins, if you will, right? So let's see if we can get it done. Oop. Move the egg. Don't fight me, you. And it's going to be on low heat. Okay, and that's going to go for about 2 minutes or so on your lowest setting. Okay, while we wait for our sandwich to be done. All right, so give me about 30 seconds, and then now we're going to start plating this. Can't wait. Okay, so now what we're going to do before the sandwiches starts to come out, we're going to add a couple little key ingredients. Okay, we're just going to barely sprinkle just a little bit of salt. Just a little bit. You do a little bit of pepper. Okay. Then, what I like to do is give it a little bit of splash of cayenne. Not too much, folks. Measure carefully, not too much. Like that. Okay. Then, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in a little nutmeg. Just a little bit. Measure carefully, folks. All right. That's it. Okay. Now let's go ahead and pull the sandwiches out. And now this is where we play. We're getting ready to get back to that backyard privilege, right? All right. Stay tuned. Pulling out those sandwiches right now. Okay. Now these sandwiches are done. The Croque Monsieur and the Croque Madame. Let's plate these bad boys, okay? Look at that. All right, so let's go ahead and plate these bad boys. Why am I rubbing my hands with the mitten? I don't know, I'm just excited. Okay, now if you look, the cheese is melted all around, right? This is exactly what we wanted to see. So to make it, look better, just kind of push it out to the side. See how you clean it up a little bit? Kind of get those away, all the anomalies. Probably gonna eat it later without the camera looking. I'm just kidding. I'm not doing that. Okay, let's go ahead and let's get these bad boys onto the cutting board here. All right, look at that. Look at these little beauties. Okay. Now, one thing I forgot to mention is when we're preparing our Grand Marnier sauce, you could do them 2, 3, 4 days in advance. Just make sure you put the, the plastic film over it and seep it in to where there's no oxygen bubbles in there. Just put it in there, cover it, put it in the refrigerator, and it can be used at a later time. Most people do this, and when they prepare it, they do it in advance. So that way they're not rushing around come dinner time, okay? So what I did was, I have my egg. Look at that, look at that, look at that. Okay, now let's go ahead and cut into it. Are we ready? Look at that, look at that, look at that. What do we think, fellas? Looks good?
Beautiful.
Okay, folks, now we're gonna go into my favorite part. This is known as my backyard privilege, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna test this bad boy out. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna eat and take a bite of the Croque Madame, okay? And I'm really excited to try this. And let me tell you, this looks fantastic. So I'm just gonna get in the middle here. As you can see, woo! Let me tell you, the richness from the Mornay sauce gives it that much an amazing, bam, kick to your you-know-what. So, I'm telling you, this is really easy, folks. Try this at home. Anything that I've done so far that I've shown you in the last 10, 12, 14 videos, they're all simple, okay? You gotta try this. But until this time, what I want you to do is subscribe to this video, ring that bell, and I'll see you next weekend. Have a good day, folks.